stream anytime, anywhere with the free PBS app.
Hidden behind this hand-carved door in Old Town is a so-called handmade house by artist Edgar Miller, created in the 1920s and 30s. It exudes creativity and delight everywhere you look. If you're starting to see a theme here, you're right. Houses built not just as shelter, but as immersive works of art.
Oh, man. All right, so as I've walked up through this house, I have seen stained glass, hand-carved wood, ceramics. Did he do everything?
Pretty much everything. Edgar Miller worked in over 30 medium. He could lay brick, plaster, really a true Renaissance man.
Zach Bleicher lives in the house, which was meticulously restored in the early 2000s by his late uncle, who knew Edgar Miller personally.
There were a lot of different types of creatives that came to these spaces, and so it became an artist colony. He did enjoy playing games, having fun, probably drinking scotch and smoking cigars.
During Prohibition.
During Prohibition, of course. This was a pretty avant-garde scene of people who were not interested in the more sort of conservative mores of the time.
But I'm seeing a lot of animals.
Of course, yeah. So Miller's work, highly influenced by animals because he grew up in Idaho, on the frontier. He had an affinity to them. We noticed that the human figures in Miller's art always seem a little bit awkward or cubist or chunkier. They're not as detailed as the animals.
The more you look at it, the more detail you see, Like at first I thought maybe that was just a little dirt. It's not dirt. That's like a little shading that was done, right?
Right. And many times, even in that case, Miller probably used his fingers and his thumb to actually smear the enamel onto the stained glass before it was fired.
I'm touching what Edgar touched right now. I'm channeling him, feeling the creativity. What was his work ethic?
I mean, he was constantly working and quickly, and he didn't really correct things. There's sort of a roughness to his work. He didn't do over. He wasn't a perfectionist, even though, from our point of view, this looks pretty perfect.
Yeah.
You can see a good example of that one floor below us along the stairs.
He would just dive into it and be very spontaneous. Each carve of the chisel, where he's going like this, and then around. I mean, this all was probably done in a matter of minutes.
The three-story entrance hall gave Miller space for an heroic work in plaster.
Each of these human figures represents a muse, music and dance, drama.
Yeah.
And at the center, Miller takes a bit of creative liberty by inventing a muse of architecture.
Yes.
See the architect parting the forest with the city rising
there's the
behind
city,
him.
right.
Miller saw this space as a perfect canvas.
Oh, yeah.
The heavy beams of the ceiling in a living area seemed right for a heavy topic.
One of the most interesting pieces is here. It's got a bit of a dark story to it. It's a mushroom cloud.
Oh, yes, it is.
And it says at the bottom, AD 1945. Embedded in this ceiling is the history of science and technology. You see, Leonardo and Galileo, all the way back to the Greek philosophers. So there's 60 total images, all carved in wood.
Look around you. Why isn't Edgar Miller world famous?
It's a question that's asked all the time. You see his work and you immediately think this artist is a genius. His work happens to be also in all these private spaces. And so it was much harder to see his work in person unless you happened to get invited to a party at this house.
For those not lucky enough to score one of those invitations, Zach has co-founded a nonprofit to keep Edgar Miller's message alive.
Miller has a great quote where he said that to be afraid of inspiration is like being afraid to eat. You have to have inspiration in order to continue making your art and to live.